podcast. And tonight we're going to be talking about the NFL Combine. Now, the NFL Combine, the activity part of the NFL Combine kicked off on this afternoon. And the first to go were the tight ends, the wide receivers, and the quarterbacks. And for the first time, the NFL Combine is in prime time. So you can tell what the NFL is really trying to do. They're trying to make this a big event, take part in any of the activities or anything like that. He won't be throwing. He won't be running a 40 or anything like that. And also, other guys that are out there, that can possibly up their draft stock by having a good and really good performance. And a couple guys, Jake Fromm, also Jacob Eason, and Jordan Love. And I want to know from, just evaluating these guys, looking at these guys, how do they look, in a pro style type offense, guys not being in the shotgun, Justin Herbert, a guy who been in a shotgun his entire college career at Oregon, taking part in those 7-step drops to see how he performed. And I must say, man, I was really impressed at a couple of these quarterbacks that were really throwing the football. I was a couple guys, I was very disappointed in. One, jumped off the page, and, I'm giving my opinion on that. But, of course, if you want to take part in the show, you can call. I mean, we don't have to talk about anybody that you may have seen watching NFL Combine. You can call 504-354-0165. That's 504-354-09. Of course, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. It's where it takes place every single year. And, Sean Payton was there, man. Sean Payton, he's one of those guys that got the big arm. He's that prototype quarterback, that throwback quarterback that Mel Kiper loves. Mel Kiper is drooling all over this guy because, Mel Kiper is from the old school, man. Where a quarterback is like 6'6", big rocket arm, slow as a snail. But, man, he's not the new type of quarterback that's taking over the league right now. Is there a play for Jacob Eason in the NFL? Absolutely. But I'm just not a fan. I'm just not a fan of Jacob Eason. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a guy who sugarcoats it. I just think he's one of those guys who isn't as good as, people are making him out to be. He had a lot of character issues, when he was leaving Georgia, going to the University of Washington, people saying he kind of turned over a new leaf. But, I mean, just looking at some of the events that took place and how, he performed, especially in a 40-yard dash. I mean, this guy ran like a 5 flat out there. I mean, this guy was like he was walking out there. I probably can walk faster than he was running. The wide receiver had to, get down and catch the ball. The only thing they be performing well in my opinion, was the deep ball drill. I mean, that's the only thing that kind of stood out for me, but that's not a surprise because he's one of those guys everybody's been ranting and raving about his arm. I still think somebody is going to take a chance on him probably in the second round. I don't think he's going to be a first-round pick, but I'm just not a fan of Jacob Eason, man. I don't know if he was just scared or, I mean, the lights were too bright. I don't know what's going on with that, but wasn't by him. Jake Fromm did okay. I say about an average performance, man. He ran about a 4.9 in a 40. I mean, not really blazing speed, but he wasn't a blazing speed guy. He has all the physical tools, man, that you want in a quarterback. I'm not going to take that away from Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm is the type of guy that will be in the NFL for a very long time. I don't think he's going to be a starter. I don't think he's going to be a guy lead a team to a playoffs. I think he's going to be one of those guys when your team is in a tight squeeze and your starting quarterback is down for a couple weeks, he can come in and and do an admirable job. I don't see him going out there making the playoffs or being a household name or anything like that. He looked a little bit nervous at some of the drills. There's a couple passes that I seen him. He threw pretty low. And, man, I just don't know. I understand. I get it. This is like the biggest moments of your life, the biggest job interview of your life. This is the deciding factor of if you're going to get that major bread. I get it, but at the same time, if you can't perform right now, when the lights are bright, nobody's even in the stadium. I mean, yeah, you got some GMs and coaches and stuff. I mean, you ain't got no fans or anything like that. I mean, I think he's probably going to be like a second or third round draft pick. I don't see him going first round either. And this whole drill was Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, man. I've been watching the combine throughout the day, just watching little clips. And he was in a classroom with Steve Mariucci, man. And just watching this guy's knowledge and some of the plays that Steve Mariucci was drawing up at the chalkboard. This guy has a really good understanding of the game of football. He's a leader. He's a guy that I think is going to kind of fly under the radar, but a team is going to give him an opportunity because of the success of Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson. He kind of fits that same type of mold here. When you look at a guy like Jalen Hurts, you look at him 6'1", 222 pounds. Now, I'm not saying that he's a day one starter. I mean, you gotta put a little polish on this guy. He has some issues with his timing. A couple of his passes that I seen, man, he threw a little bit late. I mean, you got to make sure when you're throwing the pass to a wide receiver, I mean, you got to throw that pass before he gets into his break. So as soon as he turns around, that ball is in his hands. So I think he needs to work on his timing. I think that's something that's very, very important that he has to do. I think he ran maybe like a 4.5 40, if I'm not mistaken, 4.6. I mean, yeah, I mean that'll get the job done. If you're fighting for some extra yards on the first down round, and he only can make his draft stock go up by his performance. I mean, Justin Herbert did a good job. I mean, when he settled down, a couple of passes that he threw at the beginning of his drills were a little bit erratic, but him doing a 7-step drop drill, I think he did a really good job. The ball was just on point, man. Those receivers went right under the ball. So that's my quarterback analysis of what I saw so far of the NFL Combine. So I'm going to open the floor up to you guys. And also, if you want to donate to the State of the Saints podcast, you can do so by hitting the super chat link that is at the bottom of the live chat. So anything that you can donate will be appreciated. Thank you very much. Shouts out to Zach. Zach says, "What's up?" Jerry Poor says, "Good evening, TJ Jones, the host." That's right, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. That's right. Thank you very much, Jerry. Thank you so much for tuning in. You think Peyton was signed? Tom Brady, man. Like, honestly, man, Tom Brady is going to find a home, rather it be with the New England Patriots, even though I'm not buying what they're selling. I understand they trying to make it seem like he's not going back to the Patriots, but I don't believe that. I think he's going to end up right back with the Patriots. You can make all these scenarios, and people are making them now because they sound intriguing, but he's going to end up back with the Patriots. Hey, bro, you think Saints going to take just a lot of people, but there's a lot of questions that need to be answered about Justin Jefferson. You know what I'm saying? Justin Jefferson is a guy that a lot of people consider as a slot. Justin Jefferson, you got yourself a dual threat. And he probably ran himself into some very good money. The 40-yard dashes with the wide receivers, when he came through with the full, I was like, whoa. So I feel like he improved his draft stock on that. If the Saints end up getting him, I think they're going to have themselves a really good receiver. I've always been impressed with Justin Jefferson, and if he does end up with the Saints, that'll be a really good player for the third round. A wide receiver. They need, a quarterback. They need a cornerback. They need a linebacker. They need so many pieces for this team. But I think a wide receiver would be the most important thing. And if they're trading up, to get a wide receiver, man, you got to get yourself a Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb, if you want to try to trade up in the draft. You can't be sidestepping and get nobody else, if you're going to, but I feel like this, Invictus, I'm going to be honest. I don't feel like they need to trade up because this is a really deep draft at the wide receiver position. You're going to have guys that probably going to end up being in the second and third round, might end up being multi-time Pro Bowlers, and may I say, even some all pros. This is a really deep draft at wide receiver. Setter, a world beater, then by all means go get him. That you feel like is going to be a Hall of Famer. I think we need to try to get Burrow in a trade. This probably Breeze last year. Man, Jay Goated, please, man. Stop it with the man. Please stop it with the Joe Burrow stuff. It ain't happening. I keep telling people. I keep telling you. Joe Burrow is not coming to the Saints. It is not happening. Do you realize what the Saints are going to have to give up to get a Joe Burrow? I mean, teams that like the Carolina Panthers that's picking at 7, if they were to move up and get Joe Burrow, do you know what they would have to give up? So imagine the Saints at the 24th position moving up to the first spot to get Joe Burrow. You're talking about losing some of the top players on your team. You're talking about losing first-round picks for years to come. It ain't happening. Look, man, I know we all appreciate Joe Burrow. We appreciate him. We love what he did at LSU. We're happy. We're clapping. We're saying hooray. We're like, woo, LSU national champions, baby. I can brag. I can wear my purple and gold with pride. I get it. But this guy is not coming to the Saints. Let's go ahead and kill that noise right now. He is not coming to the Saints. The only way he'll come to the Saints if the Cincinnati Bengals playing the Saints. And I don't think the Cincinnati Bengals playing the Saints this season. I think the Saints playing the AFC West. So, with that being said, the answer to your question is no. The Saints don't need to trade up to get Joe Burrow. I wish him the best. I hope he has a great career. I hope he becomes a Hall of Famer. I hope he wins a Super Bowl, but it ain't happening. Sorry. 817, you want to stay to the Saints? 817, you want to stay to the Saints?
Hey, I'm a big fan of this show. I watch it religiously. I just want to let you know that.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Hey, no problem, man. No problem. I just got one question to ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's this quarterback that what happened was that there's this quarterback. His name was James Morgan. His stock rose up for some reason, and I never heard of him. It's like he slipped through the cracks or something.
Right.
I watch his highlights, and he kind of reminds me of like a discount Taysom Hill. I just don't get it. Like, there's a lot of reports that are now that Sean Payton's interested in him. I just don't get it. Like, what's
Morgan?
James Morgan. Yeah.
What college is he out of? I have to look him up because that person that. Oh, okay. You're talking about FIU. Oh, okay. Okay. Nah, man. I haven't heard that much about him. I mean, I watched a couple FIU games this past season. But at the same time, man, I don't know. Sean Payton is always trying to find those diamonds in the rough. He's always trying to find those guys that kind of fly under the radar because I guess he feels like that makes him a genius, always finding those guys that nobody took chances on. You look at Marcus Colston, Alvin Kamara, guys like that who people really probably weren't paying that much attention to. And he feel like, oh, I'm a genius. I found this guy. But I'm not buying that, man. I'm not buying it. I think that the Saints understand that Drew Brees, is on basically probably 1 or 2 years tops before he decides to retire. And they're trying to get the best quarterback possible, man. You can't be around here playing around with the franchise, trying to get guys that nobody heard about. You need to get some of these guys with good physical tools like a Jordan Love or, even like a Jacob Eason, a guy that I'm not really high on. But you need to get yourself somebody that you feel comfortable with that could possibly lead your team to a playoffs post Drew Brees. I'm not buying that, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not buying it either. Honestly, I want Jordan Love too.
Yeah.
Because I'm okay with us taking a wide receiver or a guard because we're like dire need with guard.
Right.
These 3 playoff losses have been heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
So at this time, I'm just like, we just need to draft for the future, And I think Jordan Love will be the smartest way. Even if we have to trade up to get him, I don't mind that. That's perfectly fine.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, Jordan Love, quarterback, like the one. That's like the number one person that I'm looking at in the first round. If we get like if we're not going to go with that, then preferably I would get a wide receiver, somebody like Justin Jefferson or Henry Ruggs or who else? I mean, honestly, I'm just trying to wait and see until the actual draft comes up. But at this moment, I think we need to draft the future. You know what I mean?
I absolutely agree, man. I think we do need to draft for the future. I look at the some of these young quarterbacks that are out here, man. I think you need to try to get one of these guys. I don't know, man. You mess around and be trying to play around with guys that you feel like, you know, can be the future of your franchise, and you end up setting your franchise back 5-6 years. The Saints got to make sure that they have an exit strategy, man, for Drew Brees. You know, once he retires, the wheels got to keep on turning, man. As much as we love Drew Brees, and most of make sure that
the Super Bowl window is officially closed. I mean, that's how I feel. So yeah, we just need to be secure. That's all I gotta say.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. We definitely gotta be secure, man. But I appreciate the call. Thank you so much for chiming in, man.
No problem.
All right, thank you for listening, also, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Peace out.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, we can't be around here playing around. Now, this guy, like I said, I've heard some things about him. Well, not heard about him so much, but I have watched him play. But man, there's always that one guy that's about this guy to a point where I feel like Sean Payton is going to end up drafting him. I know that Sean Payton always trying to find guys to, you know, that nobody really heard of. Own ego and, you know, make everybody see how much of a genius he is. But I'm not buying it, man. You get yourself the best quarterback you could possibly get. I mean, you can't be around here playing around. I'm tired of half-stepping, man. You can't be half-stepping with the franchise or wide receiver. I don't care who it is, because we already got a number one wide receiver. Why are we up here trying to move up to try to get another wide receiver when you can get a really good wide receiver that can fill the void of the New Orleans Saints late in the first round? I mean, no need to overexert yourself if you don't have to, is what I'm saying. Let's see. Who you hoping the Saints take in the first round? Well, Crisco, who I feel like you have yourself a much faster Michael Thomas type player. You know, Michael Thomas is a really good wide receiver. Excuse me. But he's not fast. You get yourself somebody like Shenault who can easily be on the inside, and you got yourself a true number 2 receiver. That's who I feel like the Saints need to get. I feel like Justin Jefferson, him running this 40-yard dash, I think he probably upped his stock. I mean, he led the nation in catches, man. Come on, man. Give me a break here. This guy's going to be, man, if he wasn't in the top 15 before the combine, he definitely going to be in the top 15 in the combine after running a 4.40, because he already got good hands and now he fast too. Bruh. He really upped their draft stock today, in my opinion. He really upped his draft stock. So, but honestly, folks, I'm not answering any more questions about Joe Burrow and the Saints. If you say Joe Burrow and the Saints in the same sentence, I'm not even going to entertain it. I'm not, okay? I'm not entertaining it no more, because I'm going to think you're trolling me after, you know, I'm going to think you're Christ and God. You know what I'm saying? All things are possible through God. That's what the Bible tells us. But you have to really understand that this is a very tall order. And you're talking about setting your team back for years, okay? For years. So, Joe Burrow, New Orleans Saints, no, okay? I am not commenting or answering any more questions, because it is so far-fetched, it shouldn't even be talked about. So let's just leave it at that. It is ridiculous. Like, you're basically exposing your lack of knowledge of football if you feel that the Saints are going to trade up for Joe Burrow. It is absolutely ridiculous. No disrespect to anybody. I'm just calling for what it is, man. And I'm trying to save you, okay? I'm trying to save you from the barbershops of America, okay? So they won't throw you out before you can get that taper fade, all right? Because if you start talking about Joe Burrow getting traded up to the Saints at a barbershop, they're probably going to mess your lining up or mess up your taper, okay? So please, no more Joe Burrow and the Saints talk. 504, you're on the State of the Saints.
What's up, PJ? This the GM. I'm gonna call myself the GM. I called you last time.
All right, GM, man, what's going on with you, man? Thanks for calling.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna call you every time you're on live, bro.
I appreciate it.
With the quarterback Super Breezy, he could turn them around, bro. He had Kerry Collins to the Super Bowl. He turned Tony Romo around. Quarterback, I don't have no problem with. So I'm not really hard on us getting a young quarterback because these young quarterbacks these days really ain't hitting on them for real.
Right.
But I think we need to get we got to get Jordan Jefferson or some kind of playmaker on defense. Jordan Jefferson, I guess he could pick it outside too because his first 2 years at LSU, he played the outside. He just had to go inside because you got 3 number ones. You know what I'm saying? You got him, Brandon Marshall, and Chase.
Right.
They open up the offense and they just put him in the inside. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But Chenault, I like Chenault too. I think he'll be a great fit too because he is nothing but another Michael Thomas 2.0, you know?
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you, GM. A lot of things that you're saying, man, you know, are very valid. Starting with Justin Jefferson, he lined up on the inside because he had some dogs on the outside. I feel like a lot of the plays that I see, especially in the Peach Bowl, I mean, he was on the inside, he was on the outside, and he still had 4 touchdowns. I think a lot of people looked at him lining up on the inside and they think that's what he actually is. But if you're running a 4-4, you definitely are a wide receiver that can line up on the outside because you can take the top off of defense. So I think he helped himself. You know, these guys out here now, you know, running these 40s, these unanswered questions, these guys that probably were middle of the pack, these 40-yard dashes are really helping them. And I feel like Justin Jefferson is one of those guys because he probably would have been one of those late round picks if he probably would have ran in, you know, a really, you know what I'm saying, like late 4-5 or 4-6. Yeah, so he really helped his cause, man. So I feel like if you're looking at him in the, you know, top 20, you got to put him in about the top 15. And I just talked about Chenault. You know, I really feel like he'll be a good fit for the New Orleans Saints. He reminds me of Deebo Samuels a little bit. You know what I'm saying? The way that he plays and how physical he is, man. He's a bully. And I feel like that's something that the Saints are missing. You have Michael Thomas, who I like to consider a bully, you know, at the wide receiver position. You don't have too many bullies on the Saints team, man. You got a lot of finesse dude, a lot of pillow fighters out there. You get what I'm saying? I'm tired of watching these boys pillow fight on the line of scrimmage and not get all press coverage. You guys should know a guy that can be physical, a guy that runs the ball with reckless abandons, and his yards after the catch to me remind me of Brandon Marshall when he played for the Broncos. When he caught the ball, he turned into a running back. So I think that's something that the Saints need, man. Too many pillow fighters at the wide receiver position for me, man. Need some dogs. So I mean,
sometimes I question his play calls, get on my nerves, but as a coach, he coached. He booked the job. He had a team plan, you know. They never gave up on him. Depends on what we went on 79 in 3 years. He still had the team playing tough, and at quarterback wise, I knew he could pick his quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a quarterback guru. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I say, he had Kerry Collins, he had Tony Romo. You know what I'm saying? Really, Mahomes. I think he was going to snatch Mahomes, but Kansas City came up there and snatched him from us. But,
right. Yeah, that's true.
I think like quarterback wise, to me, I think he can help Andy Dalton. He can make Andy Dalton better. Sean Payton is a great quarterback coach. So I'm not worried about us getting a quarterback in the future. I think he knew that situation. I know he knew what he could do. He could get a nice little veteran. You know what I'm saying? Look what he did with Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater was okay to a good quarterback now. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely got Teddy Bridgewater paid, you know, utilizing his strengths and stuff like that. But you know, I mean, I just want them to make the right decision at the quarterback position, man. You know, not picking the right quarterback, I mean, that can set you back for years. I mean, years, man. You get yourself somebody that you feel like, you know, is the sure thing, and he end up being a bust. And, that's why I feel like, a lot of people, shouting from the rooftop, Taysom Hill, Taysom Hill, Taysom Hill. I mean, I like Taysom, but you by no means, you do not say when Drew Brees retired, is your team. If he goes out there and he competes and he gets the job over, a young quarterback that the Saints draft or a young quarterback, that they get through free agency or what have you, then fine. But do not just give him the team, man. You got to earn it. So,
he's a temporary quarterback. Like, you know, already 30. But a good 3 years out of him anyway, to be any good anyway. But like I said, like quarterback situation, I ain't worried about Sean Payton. I think he'll pick the right quarterback for us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what he do to me. You know what I'm saying? And I think he like more veterans than rookies. Because veterans, they already been played. They know the game. So all he's doing is push him up. Drew Brees was good. He probably Drew Brees up to a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Look, he had Kerry Collins to the Super Bowl with the Giants. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I think quarterback is good, but I think we need to go get Justin Jefferson. You know what I'm saying? Or we could trade down, because that thing, the wide receiver class is kind of deep this year. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of good receivers coming out.
Right.
So we could trade down and get more picks like that if we want to do it like that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of, good players in this year's draft, man. The wide receiver position is deep. You got yourself some good quarterbacks that could possibly be, some real good starters, some perennial Pro Bowlers. And, man, I think the Saints are going to make the right decision. I mean, they got a really good front office, man. Jeff Ireland, who came in about 2015. I mean,
he's did a good job.
I mean, he's done. Right. I mean, he's done a marvelous job, man. I mean, since 2015, his first draft class that he had brought us Brandon Cooks. It brought us Michael Thomas. He brought us Michael Thomas in 2016, and then of course the historic 2017 team. I mean, he's been knocking them out of the park, man. And I don't know. I want to say Brandon Cooks in 2015 because he was just getting to the Saints. So, excuse me. I think
Brandon Cooks was already there.
Yeah.
He came in 14.
Yeah, 14. Yeah, excuse me.
He came with Odell, I think.
Right. So, I mean,
he came in and did his thing, man.
Yeah, definitely did. He played a very, very huge role. Been dealing with a cold, and man, everything that my son gets, I get. And he goes to daycare, so y'all, if you ever had a child in daycare, you already know anything another kid gets, he bring it home. And I don't know, man, every cold throughout this show. But yeah, man, this is a really, really deep draft and a lot of good players, man. Wide receivers graded high. You got yourself some quarterbacks. Somebody asked me, let me go ahead. I think somebody asked me about the linebacker position. Do you see us drafting a linebacker in the third round? In the third round, probably not. The linebacker position, Caden Ellis did a really, really good job. Caden Ellis did an outstanding job before he ended up being out for the season. I think that they got somebody. So I don't think you need to try to get yourself or draft a linebacker early in the draft. I feel like you got some more needs. You need a wide receiver. You need another tight end, in my opinion, and you need a cornerback. So you need to fill those needs first before you start talking about, going out here getting somebody else. Let's see. Somebody said, obviously, all we need to get Burrow is trade our entire roster, our first round picks for the next 10 years. Sound pretty fair to me. Absolutely. If you thinking that the Saints gonna get Joe Burrow, I don't know what you smoking, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you probably smoking something that make you cough like I'm coughing right now.
You doing it all by yourself, or it seems that way. So I mean, much to you, bro.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Man, I have plenty of sidekicks, man. Like people in the chat and people like yourself that call in. Y'all the sidekicks, man. Y'all the ones that make this show go, and I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. But listen, man, I kind of been doing a little bit of studying myself. and looking at some film from some of these guys that you may not have heard of, or they just see them running, you kind of see them talking about them on TV, and I'll pop them up on YouTube, kind of look at them.
Right.
But I'll look for certain things that's not really the obvious, right?
Right.
And two positions that we're talking about wide receiver.
Right.
I look at this guy. He was Antonio Gandy Goldman, and I put the tape on, and mind you, he ran one route in the entire clip of the highlights, and it was basically a fly. And this guy is long. He high points the ball.
Right.
He competes for the ball at the highest point. He is a monster. He kind of reminded me of Green from Cincinnati.
Right.
Like a young Green. And I'm like, you know what? He would complement our offense because we need somebody to kind of stretch the field.
Right.
And also be able to high point the ball, not just a speed guy who because Drew's accuracy is not where it once was.
Right.
So we need somebody to be able to go and get those 50-50 balls and also stretch the field.
Right.
I think he would fit our offense perfectly to the T.
Right.
But that being said, we all know that free agency is going to play a big role in who we go and get at the 24 position. Because if we don't bring back Apple, if we don't bring back Janoris Jenkins, now we got a big hole at the cornerback position.
Right.
And if looking for a cornerback at the 24 position, I would also throw in the name C.J. Henderson
right.
from Florida, who was a teammate of the guy that we drafted last year.
Yeah.
And when I put the tape on for him, I saw him making plays on the ball against top-notch wide receivers, a la Chase from Duke and Martin Jefferson, and some of the other top-tier wide receivers in the SEC. So he was another guy that popped. This is the best time for me going through the draft. And a lot of people, they want to say, hey, man, take this guy. But I think the process, when you evaluate, that way you have a multiple guys that you could choose from at that 24 position, or if you wish back or trade up, go get your guy. And a lot of people saying Jordan Jefferson, which he had a lot of catches. I get that. He had a lot of production in that attitude. I'm not saying he's not good. But when I put on the tape and I watch his route running skills, I'm like, it's kind of lackluster. But he did kind of show out today at the combine. He looked good. He caught the ball real well. And I think he would also help us. So that's just my take on it,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I love this time of the year.
Yeah, me too, man.
Kind of got my juices flowing. Again.
Right.
Kind of looking at some football.
Right.
So you'll take. Have you heard of the guy Gandy Goldman?
Man,
Gandy Goldman.
He from Iowa State, right?
He's from he's from Liberty College.
Okay. That guy, that was the first me watching a combine. That was the first time I actually heard of that guy. But he do like his size, as far as his size is concerned, and his I look at somebody like him, like Plaxico Burress wasn't the fastest guy in the world, but at the same time, he was able to high point the ball and everything like that, and he was he found ways to get open. The only thing is like is 40 time, is a little bit of alarming to me, because I do feel like the Saints, they do need a guy in the world. And I think one thing that he's missing out of his arsenal is taking the top off the defense. And that's why I feel like a lot of people don't want to give him the credit for being the best wide receiver in football. I think the Saints need to get somebody that can not only be a number two, but be able to take the top off the defense a little bit faster than Michael Thomas is, and people are saying Justin Jefferson. I think he'll be a good fit for the Saints, and that's why I was saying Shenault as well out of Colorado, because those two guys, they have that type of speed, and you can line them up on the inside and outside, and it can be a matchup nightmare. And if they're taking over a game, that means that the defense going to have to roll to their side, and that means that Michael Thomas is going to be eating. And that's going to make the Saints offense more elite. It's going to make it more special. And I feel like that's a dynamic that's been missing from the Saints. The fact is, all those intermediate routes and all that short ball has been killing the Saints. And that, has been feeding into the defense hands. Excuse me.
No doubt. Well, you look at Chenault, and no doubt he's a physical specimen, but he also ran a 4.6. The same time that Gandy Goldman ran was a 4.6 as well.
Right.
Now, Gandy Goldman is 6'4",
right,
and Chenault is 6 foot. So those 4 inches, and when you look and you go and put the tape on, you're gonna see how he high points the ball, which
right.
means he has an incredible vertical leap. So you put the 6'4" with the vertical leap. Yeah, he might not be a burner, but hey, Drew Brees is not throwing the ball 50 and 60 yards down the field anyway.
Right.
So you got to keep that in mind as well. But we also have to keep in mind that these guys are not just they're drafting for this year, but they're also drafting for the future.
Right.
And the fact that Drew maybe has one more year left. So we also have to fill in the roster as to how the football team is going to look down the line, and having these big physical wide receivers is going to just bode well for physical. I think he's just thicker than Debo.
Right.
To be a monster after the catch. He would be great on those slant routes in the West Coast offense.
Right.
On those drag routes that we for whatever reason we could not hit any of the second and third wide receivers on the drag routes that we had last year. Everything was going to Thomas. Right. So I think he would bode well for you in that scenario. You got to see how these guys fit in the offense. Right. And so now he's a good guy. Yeah. I think he's more of a second round pick, but we have to see, man. We got to really see how this first round is gonna pan out.
I 100% agree. You made a lot of good points, especially with Chenault. I said the same thing. He reminds me of Deebo Samuels. And you also said, that you're drafting for the future. I mean, Drew Brees, two years tops, maybe even next year he's gone. So you don't want to just, I feel like you don't want to just get a receiver that just fits the mold of Drew Brees because he's not going to be here that long. You might end up getting a quarterback that can sling it. You know what I'm saying? We won't be talking about, the Saints can't get the ball down the field anymore. Or, you might get a quarterback that has a rocket arm. You don't want to get a wide receiver just because you feel like it's a good fit for Drew Brees. You want to get a wide receiver because he's a good fit for the Saints, period. So if I got to look at this guy, Anthony Gordon, because, I don't want to sit up here and say, I know this guy. And I want to make sure that, I take some time and learn a little bit more about him before I give my take on him. But I will say, like, if he's, what you're saying that he is, I think he would be a good fit for the Saints. But, I just look at what the Saints are missing. I need a wide receiver that's a dog. I need a wide receiver that's a savage. And I feel like that's something that the Saints have been missing for some years, man. You look at somebody like Traquan Smith, I feel like he can be taken out of the game. I feel like the game can get a little bit too big for him. And, I'm just not sold on him. I mean, these guys getting jammed at the line of scrimmage, getting knocked off their route, getting bullied, misused, and abused. I think it's time out for that. The Saints need a brand new they need a brand new mentality on the offensive side of the ball. Right now, they seem like they're just a finesse team. And I have to say, they seem like they kind of soft. So they need a new identity, man. And it starts with a wide receiver that can bully the cornerbacks, that's not afraid to go out there, put hands on the cornerback, and be able to win those hand fights. Right now, the only one that winning hand fight is Michael Thomas. The rest of his teammates, the other wide receivers, they pillow fight. And I feel like that's something that the Saints need to address.
I'm going to give you one name, and after I give you this name, I'm going to go and look at this guy.
Okay.
And this is exactly who this guy, Antonio Goldman reminds me of. He reminds me of Cortland Sutton.
Okay.
And I was a big Cortland Sutton fan coming out of college.
Right.
And man, I used to go at it with some Saints fans and these other groups. And it was like, nah, not Cortland Sutton. I was like, hey, Cortland Sutton, you know, and he reminds me exactly like Cortland Sutton, man.
Yeah.
He's a dog. When the ball's in the air, he attacks it.
Right.
And like I said, one route.
Yeah.
The film that I put on was one route. It must have been maybe 10 plays of that same route down the field, like streaking down the field or a fade.
Right.
Man, it was spectacular. So, but I'm gonna get off the phone, let some other callers call in, and I'll continue to listen, man. But big up to you, bro. Thank you for taking my call.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
All right, dude.
All right.
Later, dude.
Yeah, man. I mean, he made some good points, especially about Cortland Sutton. Cortland, but in a couple of years, man, he molded into one of those top receivers, and he made Demaryius Thomas expendable. So if this guy that everybody talking about, you know, Golden, if he's that guy, you know, then, you know, by all means. But like I said, I mean, I'm seeing some names being brought up, and I got to take a look at these guys. You know, most of the guys that a lot of people want me to critique and review, you know, are those top players. And I get it, man. We love these top players because they go up against elite competition. They go up against some of these power conferences. But man, you have some diamond in the rough that play at these smaller schools, and you know they just need these opportunities. And you know, sometimes you know you gotta, you know, when you're vacuuming the entire floor, sometimes you gotta raise up that sofa a little bit, and you'll see, man, they got some stuff under there. And I feel like these guys, you know, are the guys that, you know, not visible, but they can make a lot of noise. So there's a lot of good receivers. I mean, man, this is a really deep draft at receiver. Like there's so many receivers that, you know, that these teams are going to get. And these guys are going to probably be third, even fourth rounders. And you might be saying, man, dang, you know, these guys are really good. They said they haven't not had a wide receiver class this deep in years. So that goes to show you how much this receiver class means to a lot of these media people that are out here critiquing and scouting these players. So let me go ahead and answer some of these questions. Shouts out to y'all, man. Somebody asked me about the XFL. I think the XFL is good. I think the quarterback position is going to kill the XFL, for the exception of PJ Walker out there and for the Roughnecks. A lot of these guys, I mean, they suck. I mean, they stink. I mean, what was that? Cardell Jones threw 4 interceptions. Then you had Landry Jones, what's his name? McLaughlin. They're going to kill the league because these guys throw more picks than Razor Ramon. Horrible. But overall, the product, I think it's good. I think it can catch on. I like it. You know, it gives us a extra, you know, football league to watch. And I think it's good. It gives other guys, you know, opportunity to play if they can't make it in a league. So I like it. I like it a lot. Let's see. Anthony Gordon for Washington State or Jacob Eason from Washington. Oh, yeah, Anthony Gordon. Yeah, that quarterback. Yeah, I like him, man. I like him. You know, Anthony Gordon, I seen him throw a couple passes. His release on the foot, I mean, his release when he throw the ball is a little bit weird to me, but he get it where it needs to be. And he remind me of Drew Brees as far as his height and weight. Once again, I'm battling a cold for those that just tuned in. I ain't been smoking on nothing. TJ, what's your sold on Anthony Gordon? Anthony Gordon for Washington State. Like I said, I think he's a good quarterback. Who that TJ? Just checking in. Finally moved into my new place, man. Shout out to your new place. Dalton said I like Easton, but both of those guys have not played top talent like the SEC every week. You can't chunk that up to honestly, man, you can't look at it. There's a lot of quarterbacks that come into the league. Carson Wentz, he didn't play against the SEC. Jared Goff didn't play against the SEC. Patrick Mahomes didn't play against the SEC. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't play against the SEC, so on and so forth. That don't mean that they're going to be an elite player. That don't mean nothing. That just means they got opportunity to go to a power conference and play against power conference teams. We need to draft a wide receiver. This is the most desperate position for our team. By the way, I've been listening to you every day for 3 months. Thank you very much, Nelson. You know, the wide receiver position is a must. You know, every wide receiver, every wide receiver that is remotely good, the Saints need to be looking at. This is important right here. You know, you don't go into another season not having a number 2. And like I know Sean Payton, I've been watching him, man. The entire time he's been with the Saints. You're not going to get a guy more stubborn than him. This guy is stubborn. Like he would know what he need and still don't get it. Because he'll feel like Emmanuel Butler is the number 2. You know, that's just how he worked. I mean, this guy traded up to get Marcus Davenport. Man, we didn't even know who this guy was. Like, we didn't know who Marcus Davenport was. I know I didn't. I was like, who is that? So he's always trying to find guys who nobody heard of to make him seem like he's just a bona fide genius. But they need a wide receiver, man. They don't need to be playing around. Ruggs is my favorite, but don't think he will fall to 24. Yeah, probably not. I think I can see him playing for somebody like Philly. I can see him playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. I can also see him in Indianapolis somewhere. TJ, everyone has opinions, but I'm not sold on Hurts and Fromm. Sorry, bro. I'm not sold on Fromm either. Hurts, I got to see more. You know, I feel like Hurts has a little bit more promise than Fromm, man. I mean, this guy got a low ceiling, man. I'm talking really low. I mean, yeah, bro, real low, real low ceiling, you know. And I didn't see much, you know, average, you know, like, but that's what he is. He's an average quarterback. He ain't gonna win you no Super Bowl. He gonna win you a couple games. I feel like the Saints already got the replacement for Tig again. That's Deontay Harris. You know, I feel like they did that for a reason. So I think when he caught that ball on that 55-yard pass, I think it was the writing on the wall for Tig again. Dalton, but this is the NFL. Guys get hurt, you know. You can't be around here half-stepping, acting scared, being timid, you know. So I just think that this is a new league. I think that this is a new league. Guys are coming in, and most of them in high school, man, they playing a spread offense. So they're going to be running, and they're going to be throwing. So the statue quarterback standing in the pocket, standing strong, looking physically imposing, them days is over. You know, these defensive ends and these defensive tackles too athletic for you to be sitting in the pocket, you know, just like a statue. Those days over. Tell the truth. We don't know what the Saints going to do at 24 because they always go with the best player on the board. It may be a guard. That's true. It could be a guard, but I think they out their mind if they don't get a wide receiver in the first round or a quarterback. I even take a cornerback, but I don't know. Like I said, I feel like they need to get a wide receiver because that's something that they need. Run and do drills at the LSU Pro Day. I think that Thaddeus Moss will be a good fit for the New Orleans Saints because he's a really good blocker, and we already heard Sean Payton say he want to commit to the run. I think the Saints need another pass-catching tight end. He's that really helps in the running game because I really feel like the Saints need to do what? Run the football. And speaking of running the football, the Run the Football T-shirts are available on teespring.com. I'll make sure I put the link in the description. You can order your Run the Football T-shirt. But, folks, I'm about to go ahead and wrap it up. Like I said, I apologize for coughing. I wasn't going to do a live show, but I felt like there was a lot to talk about and a lot to discuss. So once again, I apologize for coughing throughout the entire show. But thank y'all for tuning in to the State of the Saints podcast. And you can also give your questions if you have any questions, anything like that, about the team. I'm always looking for topics to discuss. Thank y'all very much. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search State of the Saints. Also subscribe to the State of the Game podcast that's available on YouTube as well. You all have a great night, and we're going to go live again next week, and we'll be taking your calls. And thank you all for supporting the State of the Saints podcast. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?